Welcome to Heidi Reddit Relationships. Today, we'll read some more stories from Reddit. But before we start, I would really appreciate if you could subscribe to the channel, like the video if you enjoyed it, and maybe leave a comment down below. That would help the channel a lot. Thank you very much in advance.
The first story is titled, I, 27M, think my fiancé, 27F, might be cheating. Me and my fiancé, Sandra, have been together for 5 years, engaged for 8 months. Things were going great up until a couple of months ago. My suspicion of Sandra started back in June. I noticed she has become more distant and colder towards me. We talked about it and she says her job is stressing her out. Fair enough. The suspicions began to arise again a month later. I started to notice she would go to work really early and come home late. She tried to brush it off by saying she's working harder towards a promotion, but for some reason I don't believe her. A couple of days ago, I obtained her phone records, and it shows that she's texted a certain number hundreds of times during July. I talked to my older brother about this. Pretty much the same thing happened to him with his wife 3 years ago, leaving for work early plus coming home late. A ridiculous amount of text messages to one number. Turns out his wife was cheating on him and they got a divorce. By the end of the convo, I was in tears. I didn't want to believe it, but there is a good chance Sandra is cheating on me. IDK, what to do at this point? I have no concrete proof that Sandra is cheating on me. Only suspicion. How should I approach this? A user in the comments said, Plan A, unknowing accomplice. Assume he's just as innocent as you. Call the number. Confirm the affair, then meet up with dude. Do not fight him. Instead, talk it out and team up. Text her to meet up for dinner at a place you won't be sitting at when she would normally be with him. When she says, pass, have him text her to meet at the real location you guys are at. When she arrives, you both greet her cordially. Let her try and weasel her way out of it. Plan B, knowing accomplice. It's the same story, however when you meet up with him you find out he knew and didn't care. Get past it because it's over. Talk it out. Thank him for letting you find out what a horrible person she is before you got married. Plan B1, if he doesn't want a relationship with her, call off the wedding and kick her out. If it's a shared lease, leave with all your stuff and go to your brother's house. Let her figure out all the bills. Plan B2, if he does want a relationship, to tell him to come and get her that same night after she's busted. I know it will be hard to talk to him, but if you have accepted that it's over so that when you get there your only thought is revenge against her, and how sweet it will be because it's with the man she cheated with. The next story is titled, Update, I, 27M, think my fiancé, 27F, might be cheating. First off, I wanted to thank everybody who commented on my original post. Most of you guys wanted me to call the number Sandra was constantly texting, and I honestly was about to. She came home an hour after I had posted the original post. I was almost asleep by then and I guess she thought I was asleep. She took out her phone and unlocked it. I saw her password. Eventually she fell asleep and I unlocked her phone and searched the number on her phone. The number belonged to some guy named Jeff and the text messages were extremely sexual. Some examples, from Jeff, I love the way you bounce when we duck. From Sandra, I love it when you go down on me. Those were just 2 examples of the sexts between them, but there was a hell of a lot more. I screenshotted a ton of them and sent them to myself. At this point, I was done with her. I confirmed that she was cheating on me. So, I decided to snoop some more and looked through her photos. They were a couple of photos of her kissing and cuddling with some guy, who I assume is the same guy she's been cheating on me with. Of course, I also send those photos to myself. But what threw me over the edge was a video of her, I assume one of her friends were recording this, giving some guy head. I almost lost it and woke her up to confront her, but I calmed down. Of course, I also sent the video to myself. At this point I went for a walk for nearly 2 hours. Mind you, this is the middle of the night and the area I walked through isn't the safest of areas. Still, I didn't care. I was so angry. Eventually I calmed down enough and went back to our place. I slept for maybe 3 hours and woke up. I printed off some of the sexts and photos and waited for her to get up. She finally got up at about 6 a.m. When she finished eating breakfast, I slammed the text messages on the table. She looked at me with horror. She started crying and shaking. I took the engagement ring from our dresser and walked out. I came back a couple of hours later and she wasn't there. I called my landlord and told him we wouldn't be renewing our lease. I told her I was moving out and to never contact me again. I packed all my crap and moved in with a friend. So yeah, that's it. She was cheating on me and I'm done with her. She's been blowing up my phone begging for a second chance, but she's not getting one. The next story is titled, GF 17, cheated on me 18M, one night with a friend she had for a while. We have been in an LDR for 1.5 years and had some fights back in October. During that time, she started to play with this one guy online. I was suspicious of him but decided to give him the benefit of the doubt. On the night before she broke up with me, the two sexted each other, which I didn't know about. She broke up with me the next day, saying she fell out of love with me because of the fights. The same night, she said she and that guy wanted to give it a shot and I was pretty pissed. We made up the next day and she told me they did text, but never mentioned sending him any pics or anything like that. She had removed him from everywhere. 2 months later, I felt suspicious about the whole situation, did a quick snoop and found out they were saying a lot more to each other. And she did in fact send him a certain pic of herself. She said she didn't want to reveal that part because she would only make me mad. I forgave her, because she had never done that before, but I wonder if it was right to give her one last chance. I had mentioned that I was against cheating many times and she said she felt like she needed closure at the time due to all our fights. Was I right to forgive her? Edit. She cried a lot because of what she did and felt suicidal for doing it. I even found out she visited forums regarding depression because of it. Edit 2. To clarify, since some people got confused, she cheated on one day. The following day, we broke up. The day after, we made up. The talks with him ended the night before we made up. She had removed him from everywhere and still has. I just found out about the full details of that night 2 months after it happened. A user in the comments said, "No. You're too young to be dating someone who cheated on you. Dump and move on." The next story is titled, Update, GF 17, cheated on me 18, one night with a friend she knew for a while. It's been some time, but I am happy to announce that after 1.5 months of mental torture I finally dumped my girlfriend. In my first post, many people encouraged me to break up, but I was still biased at that time and chose to disregard their advice. Now, about a month later, I have taken it. I found another girl who is slightly older and already in uni, studying to become a lawyer. She is loving, dedicated, and admittedly much cuter. I recently found out my ex hooked up with a friend she found after I discovered she cheated and do feel some amount of jealousy and frustration but will hopefully get over it. Life is finally looking great. So, thank you for the harsh, but much needed, words. The next story is titled, I, 24 meters, don't want to spend Christmas with my girlfriend's 22F family again this year, so I'm with my GF 22 for about 1.5 years. Last Christmas, I spent it at hers with her family. It was nice and I did have a good time, but I felt a little pressured into it because the thought of not being together was making her so sad. On top of that, I didn't feel ready for that kind of step. I'd always felt this year I'd be with my family. She has some issues with members of my family and isn't fully comfortable coming here, but because of the pandemic and not seeing each other so much I again have felt a kind of pressure to say I'll be with her again. Now, my grandmother is spending Christmas with us, and I haven't seen her in a long time, pandemic again, and I'd love to be with her, and I know how upset my family will be if I'm not there again. I really want to stay this year, but I don't know how to broach it with my GF and I'm afraid of what kind of reaction she will have. I'm really struggling with it, and even next Christmas isn't straightforward. I really don't know what to do. I feel like I'm disappointing somebody no matter what. I'm stuck. Any help would be so greatly appreciated. A user in the comments said, "Your GF can't expect you to give up every holiday with your family. To be fair, you can alternate families every year, split the day between both families, assuming everyone is local, or she goes to her family while you go to yours. It won't kill her to spend the day without you. Lay out those options to her and ask which one she'd rather do, but not seeing your family on Christmas 2 years in a row is not an option. She needs to be able to compromise here." Another user said, "You are both adults, she can survive without you for a few days. I see Christmas as a family holiday. I can spend any other celebrations with friends or my boyfriend, but Christmas is special. My BF family asked if I wanted to come with them in case I couldn't be with mine due to you know what, and while that was sweet, I wasn't pressured. That's the key. My BF would never pressure me to go with his family, and that's what respect looks like. You can stay nice but firm with her. Tell her you love her, you will miss her, but that you want to see your family, assuming it's kind of safe for you to do it with everything going on, you know." The next story is titled, "Update, I don't want to spend Christmas with my girlfriend's family again this year. We had the conversation last night and it wasn't pretty. I set out my stall that I wanted to be at home on the day. I would be with her the weekend before and the weekend after, and I would come up to her on the 26th. We live about 90 minutes apart, which is why with the restrictions we haven't seen each other much lately. She has reacted very negatively, saying she hates me, will never forgive me or forget this, and that I've ruined Christmas for her. I understand I've gone about this wrong and I should have spoken up earlier despite feeling like I couldn't. I know I've done wrong and have hurt her and I want to make it up to her, but I seems like she won't give me the chance. I feel her reaction is overly negative, overly dramatic, and almost like she's daring me to leave her. I don't want to do that, but I'm at a loss as to how to recover things from here. Again, thank you for all the comments on the original post. It was nice to see some falling on my side for a change." The next story is titled, "My M21 GF F23 obsession with Pokémon is embarrassing me." So, my GF loves Pokémon. Sometimes when we go out, she will ask me if it's alright if she checks for some Pokéstops on Pokémon Go. When someone we know talks about Pokémon, my GF gets really excited and want to be friends on Pokémon Go right away. She also has many Pokémon plushies, all of them in our shared bedroom. At first it was cute, but my friends are starting to make fun of me for dating a child. My GF is very mature and an amazing partner, but when I brought up how her obsession with Pokémon is embarrassing for her age, she felt insulted and told me her liking and playing Pokémon is no different than me playing LOL and Minecraft. Still, my buddies are making fun of us and I'm afraid she will get hurt once she hears them. What to do? How to convince her she should maybe tone it down a little? My friends are visiting us and I'm sure they will make fun of her once they will see all of her plushies. A user in the comments said, "My husband and I are in our 50s. We never played Pokémon before, even though we are both gamers. Our kids grew up playing Pokémon. But we play this together because it's fun, it's wholesome, and frankly it's fun to collect something that literally does not clutter our house: Pokémon. I frankly do not give two craps if people think I'm immature. Frankly, people who judge others for having fun need to pull the stick out. We celebrate 25 years of marriage this year, and being big kids is part of our secret to a long, happy marriage. Another user said, "Hell yeah. I'm 36 and my husband is 30. We both play Pokémon Go on the regular. We also have little Pokémon figurines. I have some Pokémon socks, some other memorabilia, etc. We're not obsessed. It's just something fun we can do together, and also take our baby daughter in her stroller and get some exercise. Plenty of grown PPL play video games and are not labeled children. It's just a game. There's no age limit, and I know a lot of well-adjusted, successful, awesome adults who like Pokémon. People can like what they like without being made to feel there's something wrong with them. Instead of telling your girl to tone it down, tell your friends to quit being dicks. They are the ones who need to grow up. You should have stuck up for her from the start. Instead of worrying what other PPL think, I encourage your girl and you to be yourselves, like what you like, and to hell with other people's opinions. Nobody asked them anyway." The next story is titled, Update, My M21, GF, F23, Obsession with Pokémon is Embarrassing Me. I've decided to post this update because you were all right. I didn't have a GF problem. I had friends problem. So, I had a talk with my GF like one of the users have suggested. I explained to her that I'm not ashamed of her hobby, I just didn't want her to know what our friends were saying behind her back. She said she doesn't care about their opinion, she's just doing what she's enjoying the most. I apologized to her. She has also agreed to move her Pokémon plushies so they wouldn't take up so much space. Fast forward to today. Few hours ago our friends has visited us. It didn't take long for them to start making fun of my GF. This time I got mad. She organized her plushies, so they were all in our bedroom. She has not even once mentioned Pokémons, nor did she opened Pokémon Go app. Long story short, they were forced to leave. I've realized they don't have problem with my GF hobby, they have problem with my GF, and I have enabled their behavior by not reacting sooner. Told them they are the ones who needs to grow up and to visit us again once they will stop being boomers. To show my GF how sorry I'm and to better understand her hobby, I've downloaded the app myself. So now I'm trying to level up as much as I can because she has a mission when she needs to trade a Pokémon with a friend, but to do so I need to be at least 10 level. Thank you for all your comments, even the mean ones. They worked as a wake-up call, I guess. The next story is titled, I Caught My Dad, 50M, Cheating on My Mom, 45F, with a younger, married woman, 28F. What do I do? In 2015, my mom, who is lovely and ages like wine, caught my dad cheating on her with a younger woman. I was 15 when this happened, and it tore their 21-year marriage apart. It ended in an awful divorce, and my sisters and mom left my dad immediately. We moved into a small 2-bedroom apartment, where my father lived in our 7-bedroom home. My mom became quickly depressed and drank relentlessly every night. As I am the oldest, this meant picking up the slack around the house. I cooked, cleaned, bathed my sisters, took care of repairs and grocery lists, meanwhile starting my sophomore year of high school and playing sports. I had enough of my mom's drinking after a random man found my mom's phone and called me to drive to pick her up 40 minutes away at 1 in the morning because she was too drunk to drive. I was unlicensed and had just received my driver's permit. I somehow got her home safely through LA freeways, and she vomited all over the car and on herself. The next morning she kicked me out of the house because I told her how unsafe that was and to slow down on drinking. She thought I was on my dad's side. Flash forward to now, My parents managed to co-parent, but eventually they started to date again. Calling each other babe and going out on dates and traveling. My dad told me secretly in 2017 that the mistress he was with had moved away to Louisiana, we live in California, and that he will never see her again. That was a lie. 2 months ago, I was house sitting for my dad's house, while my dad was on vacation with my mom, when I heard a ring in his room. I was the only one there, so I went to check on the noise. My dad had just upgraded his phone for a newer model, but his iCloud was still connected to his old phone and did not realize every text he sent and received also went onto his old one. I checked who the message was from and lo and behold, it was the same chick from 2015. She was sending him erotic text messages and pictures, saying he should have picked her, the love of his life, over his family, and even sent him pictures of the son she recently gave birth to saying, "He looks just like you." The one thing that got me the most was when my father sent her the personal letter I wrote to him for his birthday and she said, "Ah, my future stepdaughter is so sweet. I know she'll love her new mommy just as much." I immediately took pictures of the conversation and I have screenshots of them. I am planning on telling my mom, but this will wreck her. I'm afraid she will go through the same drinking phase and I won't know how bad this time may or may not be. Short summary: Dad is cheating on my mom again and I have proof. Help. A user in the comments said, "Jesus, what a scumbag your dad is. Sorry, but it's the truth. I feel terrible for you and your mother. I can totally see your mom spiraling out of control again. She might not think there's a point of being around anymore. I honestly don't know what to say or what you should do. If you don't say anything, then she might eventually find out on her own or never know, and if you do say something then the chaos begins again." Another user said, "I just want to send you love and support. I went through a very similar situation. Found out my dad had an affair via his cell phone. He denied and kicked me out of the house saying I was the liar tearing our family apart. 4 years later, I was invited back into the house and then found concrete proof of the affair, the same woman. At that point my parents separate, and my mom became a suicidal mess that I felt responsible for. I lost my boyfriend, friends and myself trying to save her. First, understand that you should never have to be in this situation. Even if you're over 18, this isn't a role we should have in our parents' lives. It's unfair. My best advice is seeing a therapist. Learn how this impacts you and how you do not have to participate in their dysfunction. Set boundaries around your involvement with them. For me, that was the best thing. I was continually hurt, and my parents are both sick in their own ways. Edited to add more. Also, whether you tell your mom or not, know that whatever her reaction is not your fault. It is a reaction to your dad's action. I blamed myself for so long because she wouldn't have known otherwise, because he took no responsibility for his actions, because I felt responsible for her pain, etc. It's not your fault. None of this is your fault. It goes back to the fact that this is not ever a situation you should have to deal with. Keeping that secret, for me, would have been just as detrimental as telling her. It's a crap sandwich of a situation and I'm sorry you're going through it. The next story is titled, Update on Catching My Dad Cheating on My Mom. I'm not exactly sure how to post my old Reddit post on this one, but if you look at my account you will see my other post. So, first and foremost, I'd like to thank all the kind and helpful messages I received, because I was in a place of complete confusion and entirely lost on what to do. I told my mom. Quite frankly, it was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. A couple days ago, I had gone to dinner with my mom, dad and sisters for my sister's birthday. I could see my dad sneakily checking his phone under the table, while my sisters and mom all bonded over the food. Although he was physically there, Mentally he was elsewhere. That night we got back home, I locked my mom and I in her room and she could almost immediately tell something was off. I rarely cry in front of her, but before I could even let the words out, I broke down and sobbed. She is not the most affectionate and nurturing mother, but she got off the bed and hugged me and kept making things worse with all her questions. I told her, straight up, Dad is texting XYZ again. Before I could even present my proof, she believed me. Eventually I showed her the screenshots, and she took it as well as anyone would, finding out for the second time her husband is cheating on her. I haven't seen my dad in a week, nor has he tried contacting me. He has no idea I was the one who snitched on him because my mom told me she was going to tell him she found the texts on her own. For now, she's been doing great. I haven't seen her act out, but of course she could be crying herself to sleep and I wouldn't know. I'd also like to comment. I've been getting a lot of direct messages saying that I'm too young to even be on this app and I should have stayed out of my parents' relationship. I am turning 20 this month. While I know that might still be young, I'd like to think I'm old enough to know what my dad is doing is wrong. Thank you. This is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed the relationship stories. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video and write a comment. I really appreciate your support and it helps my channel so much. Thank you.